Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Vegas D-Tech. I'm Joey. I got another hot one for you today, and I mean hot. I'm talking about, it's like 112 degrees, maybe even 114, man. It's hot. But anyways, man, we're gonna go ahead and get into this situation. I got all my reports back today. All of my data has been returned to me, and yeah, I want to get it started. So guys, lately I have been getting absolutely tired of all the denial that I'm getting on television with all of these water authorities putting out videos, and they're just like in denial that the city has any type of really anything to blame, and they're not at all responsible for any of this water loss that is going on here in Las Vegas, right? And then we also have these realtors that are also putting out videos, smiling and just saying, hey man, it's just another day, it's just another hot summer, just like all kinds of hot summers, and that next summer will be better and we'll just bounce right back. Well guys, I've got numbers here to prove otherwise. But before we start, I want to give you this local news video clip where they've done a little bit of reporting of what they found here in the southern Nevada, Las Vegas area. This is the news that they put together. So check this out and we'll be right back.
We wanted to question the top users. None would go on camera and some didn't even respond, but they are just part of the water puzzle. The bathtub ring around Lake Mead is perhaps the starkest reminder of how much water our community has lost. But there's another lake that has no ring, and it's the biggest commercial water user of all. Lake Las Vegas in Henderson used more than 1.2 billion gallons in 2020, and through June of this year, they've already used over 400 million. For perspective, it takes a little over 1 million gallons to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Henderson officials tell us raw water is taken directly from Lake Mead to replenish Lake Las Vegas. Using less than half the water of Lake Las Vegas, but still in the top tier.
You do have golf courses on that list.
Angel Park, Red Rock, and Southern Highlands golf clubs each used over 400 million gallons to keep courses green in 2020, but they used to use much more.
Golf courses in southern Nevada have removed the equivalent of 9 professional golf courses just by taking grass out of the non-playing areas.
Big properties on the Strip are next on the list. The Venetian, famously surrounded by water like its Italian city namesake, uses over 400 million gallons. Wynn, Caesars, and Mandalay Bay soak up a little less, around 350 million each.
Saw that clip, right? Now listen, when I actually did this report on water usage, you can't just break the whole city down in just one clump. Okay, I've broken the city down into sectors, okay? And the sectors are the residential sector, the economic sector, right? So like food and so forth, the development, housing, construction sector, and then resort sector. Okay, each of them play their parts and each of them share their responsibility in the water usage. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of data here, guys. So hey, grab yourself a iced tea or some lemonade, sit down and listen to these numbers. And you tell me, are these people just ignoring these numbers here just to ignore the numbers? Or is there something to be said about them? Okay, so residential, with 2.2 million people living in the Las Vegas Valley, they're basically saying that each person consumes 222 gallons a day of water. That breaks down to 489 million gallons a day for the valley. That's the consumption of water for the residential sector per day, okay? Then if you take a look at the economic sector, which is going to be like restaurants, car washes, and so forth, if we talk about the actual restaurants, if you're talking about like fast food restaurants, Burger King, McDonald's, and so forth, those guys are going to use about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water a day in those restaurants. If you're talking about a sit-down restaurant, Applebee's, Olive Garden, IHOP, and so forth, the sit-down restaurants could take 5,000 to 6,000 gallons of water per day. Okay, now what about these car washes? You have mobile car washes and you actually have tunnel car washes. Well, the car washes can use a ton of water that people don't even register either. Car washes can use 65 to 80 gallons per car, okay? And there are just hundreds of those car washes running all day long in the Las Vegas Valley. Now, when we talk about development, I don't really have a bunch of numbers for development because that just varies based on what's being developed. Is it a community? Is it housing construction? Or is it going to be facilities, right? Well, all I can tell you is that the water trucks, I do see these water trucks constantly out there spraying water all over the place. And I went and I looked at the truck. Most of these trucks carry between 2,000 to 4,000 gallons of water per truck, okay? And they fill them constantly all day long. They're filling them. They're tapped into the water municipality fire hydrants. They just tap right into the fire hydrants. And they got the hose that goes to this raised truck, and then there's a hose that comes down and it just fills a big hole in the top, and they just spray water all day long to try to keep the dust down and make the ground soft to where the dozers can come through and just pull up and plow the ground. All right, so that's the trucks. Now let's go to the resorts. There's the resorts, man. These guys here, guys, it's so funny. I've called around and spoke to a couple of the facility managers. They don't really want to tell me much, man, because they ask me, who are you? Who are you working for? Where is all this information going? And I just tell them I'm a citizen journalist, and they really don't want to give you much information, man. But I can just tell you this much. Resorts are reporting that only 6.9% of the water is being used by the resorts. And I find that very hard to believe, okay? So let's break it down here. We have 42 million tourists that come through Las Vegas per year. 42 million tourists that use about 63 gallons per day per person. And they all stay around, you know, they say 227 gallons per stay, because they stay about 3 to 4 days when they come out here. All right, so now they say that if you take all that water from all these tourists and you multiply it by the year, you're looking at 500 million gallons of water just used by the tourists, the tourism industry. All right, so can you see how quickly all of this water is adding up? It's just adding up like nuts. Now that's not to even consider all of the lagoons, the fountains, and the pools that are inside of these resorts that I can't even begin to give you numbers, you know, to give you data on all of that. But I can tell you this is a weird one. The Bellagio and the Wynn, when it comes down to them, everybody knows the Bellagio. Here's a little clip of the Bellagio. They've got the fountains out there that had their, what is it here? 8.5 acre lake holding 22 million gallons of water, okay? There's 1,000 actual fountains, and they're firing water into the air 100 feet high. Now, what do you think happens to that water when you fire water up 100 feet into the air? In an arid climate like Las Vegas, what's going to happen? It's all going to just evaporate. That's water that's never going to be reclaimed again, okay? But they get a pass. Why do they get a pass? Well, what's being reported is that the Bellagio and the Wynn resorts, they use groundwater. So they're saying they're not actually tapping into the lake because they're using groundwater, which I don't even know if that's a good or a bad thing, the groundwater, okay? Now here's a situation that I find funny. Not only do they get a pass because they say that they're using groundwater, they get a pass because they've also labeled the groundwater as, check this out, nuisance groundwater. I don't know what the hell nuisance groundwater is, but they get a pass for it because they say that whatever water they're tapping into in the aquifers under the facilities or under that resort, it's groundwater. How much water can possibly be in the water table under these resorts when that thing holds 22 million gallons of water? You know, I don't know, man. I mean, think about it. Does all of this sound good for a state that has less than 4 inches of rainwater this year, and we've already gone 116 days without rain? Does that even sound good at all to you? All right, so when we speak about water restrictions, if the residential sector is doing such a fine job of using water, and they're only using like 6% or whatever that is that they're saying that they use, why is it that all of the restrictions are always applied to the residential sector? You know what I mean? Every day I see it, man. They want you to rip out your lawns. They want you to go to landscapes, artificial turf, right? But all I see is that all of these restrictions are actually geared towards the residential sector. Now, it says that the Southern Nevada Water Authority, they actually have police that will come around your neighborhood here, and they put little flags up when they see water. If any of your water is like spraying on the sidewalk or something like that, they'll come by and they'll actually put little teeny yellow flags up on your lawn, and then they take a picture of it and they send you a fine, you know, more profit. Now, not everybody is a violator. Sometimes you got kids or people on skateboards that'll come by, maybe hit your sprinkler, and the sprinkler head goes offline, and the next thing you know, you got water spraying. But yeah, so you know, the residential sector, you guys are getting the Southern Nevada Water Authority that are going to be coming out and giving you fines. Now this is funny here. They encourage neighbors to actually snitch on each other. Yeah, they incentivize neighbors to go ahead and tell on other neighbors if they see that they're watering on a non-watering day, or if they're washing their cars, or if they see sprinklers that are, you know, firing off wrong. Yeah, they actually incentivize neighbors to tell on neighbors. That's the neighborly thing to do. Instead of just going over to your neighbor and saying, hey Paul, I noticed that your sprinkler's all shot out here. We might want to get that thing fixed before, you know, water authority comes around and notices it. They'd rather you just snitch on your neighbor. That's a real brotherly thing to do. So anyways, the parks, the schools, and the golf courses all get passes. And I find that funny, man. I mean, you know, parks and schools, I understand those are, you know, public areas, man, where the community uses them. The schools need grass for the kids. Public parks, man, you know, we all need some place to go to have the kids play soccer, practice, and so forth like that. You know, I can give that a pass. I can understand. But I just find it really weird that they give golf courses a pass, man. You know what I mean? They are some of the biggest water users that I've ever seen, and they get a pass. Hey man, it's money greasing the palms of officials, dude. Got to have those green grassy golf courses out here. You know, every one of these neighborhoods, at least the upper class neighborhoods, they all normally start with a developer coming out there and putting out a lush golf course. Once the golf course is in place, then they turn around and they start building houses all around the golf course, and that's how communities are actually born out here. So anyways, man, I always wonder about this. How confident is Las Vegas that we're not going to ever go to Deadpool? I mean, I see city officials saying it's not going to happen, guys. We've got that third pipe down, going down way down deep. It's just not going to happen. Don't worry about it. We got everything under control. And if that's the case, why is it that I'm seeing proposals for, like, they wanted to put a proposal for a pipe, to build a pipeline to come from Reno, upper, you know, northern Nevada, and have those pipes come down to southern Nevada. But that quickly got shot down. Why? Because the people up north don't want to be a part of this debacle. They don't want us draining Lake Tahoe or Pyramid Lake to send that water down here for people to use. We got our own problems down here, and they don't want to be a part of that. Can't blame them. The next proposal they have is going to be the Great Lakes. They want to put pipes from the Great Lakes and bring that all the way in to the Colorado. If that was ever to happen, that's going to have to be something that a joint effort between the upper basin and the lower basin is going to have to put in money on that project, because no one state can support that kind of money to put in a pipe that far. I can tell you that much. And if that doesn't work, the last one is a pipe from California to Lake Mead, and that's going to be a desal plant pumping salt water all the way from California to Nevada. And I don't even see how that's going to happen. The infrastructure that's going to be needed, plus having California okay that, I just don't see that happening either. But if the state of Nevada, if Las Vegas really truly believes that we'll never go to Deadpool, why are they looking into those options as an option for us? If they really truly believe that we're never going to go to Deadpool. See, leads me to believe that these city and state officials and the water authority, they know better. They know what's around the corner. They know what they're really looking at. They just may not want to report it that way to you, but they know what time it is. They know what's really going on.
Imagery here, this animation, it's a comparison of the water levels between just 2013 and a little more than a year ago. Look how much has just gone from Lake Mead. This was taken by the USGS Landsat program after the lake recorded its lowest water level ever.
Let me get across this street right here without getting run over. All right. So, resort strips will always get a pass from the Southern Nevada Water Authority. Why? Because it's good business. And also, who pays their checks? I mean, the Southern Nevada Water Authority is a state agency, right? Paid by the state. And it wouldn't be good business for the water authority to be preaching anything negative that would impact tourism, scare the tourists, or scare residential people from coming out and buying houses, right? It wouldn't make any sense. So of course they're not going to be giving you all of the information that you really need. Not to that degree that, like, say, citizen reporters, you know, citizen journalism is going to actually give you. But this is the news, right? So anyways, yeah, like I said, they don't want to scare away tourists, and they definitely don't want to scare away investors, because it's all about that money, man. It's all about that money. This is Las Vegas, man, and it's always been about profit, and it will always be about profit. Bottom line. Next thing, dude, contract developers, contract to build homes. They're always going to give permits to these people, no matter what. I don't care how bad the water situation is. They're always going to give these people permits to break ground and keep building. Why? Because of profits, man. As long as somebody's willing to come out here and invest billions of dollars into housing tracts and billions of dollars into coliseums and stadiums and what have you, they're not going to turn the money away, man. That's just the nature of the city. That's just the nature of all cities. I don't care if you're in Arizona, if you're in Salt Lake, if you're in Vegas. It's just the nature of the city. Even though each one of these states and cities are in a dire midst of a drought, they're not going to stop the developing, man. You know what I mean? The developing will always continue. And this is just the reports that I'm getting from everybody. Nothing's ever going to change. So anyways, man, in wrapping this video up, the blame goes to climate change. The blame is going to go to the Colorado River, and the blame is going to go to the levels of the Colorado and Cali overuse. That's all they're ever going to focus on. That's all they're ever going to say. But it's never, none of this responsibility is ever going to go to the actual city. It's never going to go to overpopulation. From when I first moved here in '83, it was 500,000 people, and the water was spilling over the spillways into the side of the dam. Now you got 2.2 million people. Houses are spread from one end of the valley to the other, from mountain to mountain. I mean, the houses are backed right up to, the houses are built right up to the backyard, hitting the base of the mountain, and they just won't stop. When is enough enough, man? I ask myself that. I love this city, man, but I just don't love the way that they just continue to just overbuild and overdevelop and continuing to tax the resources. Don't they see what's going on? I mean, you know what? You can go and download reports all day long from government websites. You can go listen to these officials smile and tell you that there's nothing wrong, that there's nothing to worry about. Or you could just go out there to the lake and you can actually look for yourself. I really didn't think it was that big of a problem until I started seeing boats coming up out of the water all over the place, barrels coming up all over the water, big tractor tires, and then dead bodies coming up in barrels that have been down for forever, that nobody even knew that they were there. And that's encouraged me to get out there and do this type of journalism. Because guys, you're never gonna get the real truth. You're never gonna get the confession. You know what I mean? An investigator might get you stone cold busted for doing a crime, but they want the confession, man. And I'm gonna tell you, Las Vegas will never be the one to confess if there's ever a problem. The party will continue to the very last drop of water is used. And that's just the way it's gonna be. Sad to say, I hope things change. I do love Las Vegas. I don't like the way it's going right now. But what choices do we really have? Anyways, guys, man, it's been great talking to you. It's taken me a lot to get all of this material constructed and put together, but I had to get this to you. We're going to be heading out to the lake here next couple of days, taking a look at some of the water lines, seeing if anything has really changed out there. But in the meantime, man, I just want to thank you so much for supporting my channel, leaving all these great comments, guys. If you haven't done so already, please give me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for all of my future videos. As soon as they come out, take a look at them, guys. I really work hard. I'm out here walking around right now. This sun feels like it's 10 feet from my face. It's about I'd say it's about 112 right now as I stand. But I'm doing everything I can, man. Hitting the road with my Chevrolet legs. Trying to bring you the news as raw as I can get it. All right, folks? Anyways, that's it. I'm Joey. You're watching Vegas VTech. I'll catch you guys in the next video. You guys be cool. Take care.